Hello, my friends. I am Leo Babauta from Zen Habits. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how our beliefs or views can change our experience. And when they change our experience, it can also change our actions and our results. So this is going to be an overview video, and then I'd like to actually go into parts 2 and 3, maybe even 4, as I demonstrate this with some concrete examples and walk you through how to actually create these changes. So this is actually a huge, huge topic. That's why I'm breaking into several parts. But what I want to say is that this is kind of a secret sauce that will unlock so much for you in your life if you're willing to work with this. I've seen it in my life unlock things from my ability to do this very thing that I'm doing, putting myself out into a YouTube channel and a podcast and a blog and courses, public speaking, marketing, being on social media, all of these kinds of things. I had to change my view or my beliefs in order to be able to do all of that. And so it can unlock that kind of thing, but it also, for me, has shifted how I be in relationship, how I be in relationship to my, health and fitness, finances. It also makes things easier for me when I work with this. From answering emails and doing work tasks to working on difficult or scary projects to social situations. So I'm going to go over some of these things in future videos, but let's talk about the overarching concept here. Okay, so we're going to talk about beliefs or views as kind of the core piece of this. But from the beliefs or views, we can have a certain experience. We can have actions flow from that as well, and results. And interestingly, the results often will come back and plug back into the beliefs or views. So if I was better with YouTube video graphics, you would be seeing a video graphic right now where there would be beliefs or views, there'd be a circle, experience, actions, results, plugging back into the beliefs or views. And I'm going to go over this whole circle here that you just saw really brilliantly laid out in graphic form. So let's start with beliefs or views. So we have a belief or a view about everything. It is almost impossible, I think actually impossible, to not have one. Once in a while we become free of our beliefs or views, but these are fleeting moments of transcendence. Usually 99.99999, and then keep going with the nines for another mile or two. Percent of the time, we have a view or a belief about anything, about ourselves when it comes to money and finances, about our health, about our bodies, about hair, eyebrows, about other people and how they should act, about work, about emails, about social media. Everything that I've just been mentioning, you have a belief or a view about, and so do I. So this is just normal. However, we usually are unaware of our belief or view because it's invisible. It's like if you ask someone, like, do you notice right now that everything that you see is tinted a little bit blue? They'll be like, no, because this is just how the world looks. So this person might see everything with a blue tint, more blue than other people see it, but they wouldn't be able to see it. And interestingly, neither would anybody else. No one else would know that this person could see only in blue usually. So it's invisible, right? If you are looking through rose-colored glasses or blue-tinted glasses, you won't know that. But what you will know is that there are certain effects of that. That in that silly example, you might tell people, "Hey, look at that blue wall," and they'll be like, "What are you talking about? It's not blue, it's white." And so that would be an effect. But in a more real example, let's take a more real example. What if I said, I have to have my coffee every morning. That's a view that some people have about coffee, right? Some other person might have a completely different view about coffee where they're like, coffee is, the devil's juice. Okay, so if you have a belief about coffee that you have to have it every morning, well, it's going to give you certain experiences. For one, when you have the coffee, you're going to be like, okay, great, I'm set for the day. I have what I need, and I feel psychologically stable, and I can take on my life. So that's an experience. But what if one day you didn't have coffee? Well, your experience is going to be, like I can't function without it, because that's your belief. You're going to have this kind of panicky moment, and then you're going to need to go out and find coffee, and nothing else can get done until you actually get that coffee. So, I need to drive for an hour before I get that coffee. So, actually, in that example, you might notice that there was an experience which is like, I can't function, right? And then there's action, which is I'm going to go drive for an hour, do whatever I need to do until I get that coffee. Nothing else gets done. That's actually maybe the result, is that nothing else gets done until I have the coffee. So that would be in a kind of rare scenario for this example, but usually the action is, I have my coffee, I feel settled, and then I go about my day. So, not that significant of an impact in that case. But that was a really simple example. We actually have beliefs about everything. So let's say I have a belief about email. So maybe email is freaking stressful, right? It's stressful, it's overwhelming, I'm behind. Um, and so email, maybe actually the underlying view or belief is email is yet another place where I am going to fail and be behind and let people down and feel like a terrible person. So if that's your view, what would be your experience of email? You're probably not going to enjoy it that much. It's going to be this thing where you're like, I'm, like walking through a minefield. Anything could be a failure. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be overwhelmed. Um, Maybe you're going to want to get out of it as soon as you can. Just do the bare minimum. You're not going to spend a lot of time on things that you might fail at. And the results are going to be probably that you're going to be behind on email, which is going to plug back into the belief, right? If you're behind on email because you're not spending a lot of time, you're avoiding it, you're trying to get out of it as much as possible, you'll fall behind on email, and then that's going to plug back into the belief that email is another place where I'm going to fail because I feel like I'm failing at it, right? So it reinforces the belief, and then the whole thing happens again and again and again. So we become trapped in this. There's really nothing else possible for us. Like from within this context that I've just laid out, can email ever be an adventure? No. It's impossible to have an adventure in email with this belief, with this view of email, with the experience and actions and results that you're going to get from it. So the email is another really simple one, but I could have that around socializing with other people. I could have a view around dating. I could have a view around um, marketing myself or putting my work out into the world to be exposed to others. I could have a view of social media, right? So maybe my view is social media is evil. It's all the things that are bad about the world and technology. So if that's my view, the experience that I'm going to have of social media, if I ever do it, is not going to be fun, right? I'm going to be judging every single person on there because look at all these people who are just like ruining their lives with this evil social media, and that's all they do, and gross. So it's not going to be fun. And then my actions are going to be I'm going to get out of it as soon as possible, or I'm going to do it, but in a really judgy way, and people are not going to respond well if I post anything that's really judgy, right? Maybe I post something, I don't know why I would, but let's just say I post something and I'm just like judgy, judgy, judgy in my post. Well, people are going to respond badly back to it, and I'm going to be like, see, it's a toxic, terrible place to be. And so I get these results that confirm my initial belief. Just like a bad experience, bad results, it's all toxic, and see, it's evil. Okay, so that is how that might go for social media. But what if I decided to change? What if I decided to transform my relationship to social media? Why would I want to do that? Well, maybe it's going to, open me up so that I can put my work out there or connect with others or share some interesting things in a way where I feel open and not closed down. What if I would actually like that, or it would serve my mission, my purpose in the world? Maybe I want to go on social media because I have lots of family on there and they're posting some interesting things about their lives, and I just want to feel connected to them. So I'd love to feel connected in social media. Maybe I want to do social media because I want to change other people's experience as they're doing social media. Maybe I want them to have more play in their lives, and I'm going to be playful on social media. So these are a few examples of how I could transform it, and why I would want to. But let's take the example of play, right? So if I wanted to have more play in my life, but also maybe social media could be play, then I might take my original belief, which is, let's say social media is evil, and say I'm going to come from the stance that social media is a playground, that I can go and play and have fun with others and just do whatever I feel like doing, and there isn't a right way to do it. And it doesn't matter if other people are doing it differently, because they can do whatever they want on the playground. I'm going to do my own kind of play and maybe invite some others into it, but they don't have to. In a playground, everybody can just play whatever they want to play, right? So if that's the stance that I come in, what if I actually came from that stance over and over and over again for myself? And I'm like, this is play. And I find a way to play. Maybe I record a video of myself doing like somersaults, or, some weird dance, right? So I'm like dancing and just playing as I do so. And then I post that because I think it'd be funny. Maybe I post dumb memes because I think that's playful. Maybe I, take pictures of myself, posing and being all this, or maybe I do this, or maybe I do that, or whatever I feel like doing. And maybe I post some puzzles for people, some riddles, some challenges. I'm like, first person to run to their mailbox and back wins, and then we do that, do a little race. So silly things like that, sure, but you can see in this example, I'm playing with the idea of play in social media. And what you might notice over time, if you practice it this way, is that social media does become more of a playground. Your experience of social media becomes play. Now, other people might not experience it that way. That's okay. You do. You change your relationship to it. And I would assert, if you do some of these things that I've just mentioned, other people are actually going to experience more of the joy of play themselves. It might inspire them. It might just bring a little moment of levity. So that's an example of something shifting around social media. But the the idea here is we can do this with anything. And the results that we get start to change. If I bring more play to my life, then I'm less tight about it. I take more actions that are playful, and maybe others start to feel more joy anytime I walk into a room or post on social media or get on a Zoom call. So they feel more joy, they feel more play in their lives. They might be more attracted to connecting with me. Maybe they're like, oh, this person seems fun. Let me connect with them. I might have, I might meet more people if I wanted to date because I'm being playful out in the world. Maybe I get more followers if that's, something that I'm doing. Maybe, I just have other people inviting me to play more, and so I become popular in that way, a popular playmate. So there's a lot of possible results. It really depends on like what we're talking about, but the results can change. Your health can change. Your happiness can change. Your connection to others could change. Your business could change. The amount of money you make can change. All from changing how we view things or what our beliefs are. So I want to go into more examples of this in future videos, but I want to lay out the key concepts here and say that this can transform anything. We have to first start to get present to what is my underlying belief or view. And that's really hard to distinguish. So I encourage you to work with a coach. I actually do coaching. If this is something that you'd like to do with me, go to coaching.zenhabits.net, apply, let's talk. But it doesn't have to be me. Work with someone who can help you to distinguish what is your underlying view or belief and what kind of a world is that creating. Our world gets created from that because we have an experience, we have actions, and we have results. And that is our whole lives. Everything. The kind of job that we're in is a result of this. The kind of relationships we're in is as a result of this. Whether or not we are in a romantic relationship or not is as a result of this. The way that that's going is a result of this. Not just us, maybe also them, but it is our beliefs, our views do co-create the relationships we're in, even with our kids, with our parents, with our friends, with our coworkers. So everything depends on this, and everything can be transformed by this. So the first thing we need to do is distinguish what is my view or belief, and then what does that create in my life? What kind of actions do I take from it? What kind of results come from that? Am I cool with that? Is that what I want? And if not, what do I want? What kind of results do I want? What kind of actions do I want to be taking? And from that, I might infer what kind of belief or view would I like to have of this thing, this situation, emails, my work, meetings, being on time, money. How would I like to see these things so that I get a different experience, actions, and results? And you can actually engineer your life to be completely different. Now then, once you've done that, you have to actually put it into practice. And so putting it into practice means I need to remind myself, so I'll put down a piece of paper and say, practice play in social media, or practice openness as you market, or practice love as you do Zoom calls, whatever it is that you want to do. And then actually practice it. If I am love on this Zoom call, what does that feel like? What would I do as a being of love? What actions would I take? And then I'm start to take those actions from that place. Now, sometimes I'm going to take those actions and I don't feel love or play or openness or curiosity or whatever it is that I might want. But I'm going to take those actions anyway in the face of it because I get pulled back into my old belief. But I'm going to take those actions anyway. And as I do so, try and open and open and open to my new stance. So that's a brief overview, a little bit brief overview of how this works. And I'm going to go into some specific examples in parts 2 and 3, maybe even 4 of this series. Thanks, my friends.